December 10th, 2018. This is the legislative meeting of the Board of School Directors for the School District of Upper Dublin. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. It is great seeing so many of you here tonight. We begin. I always try to select somebody to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And what I thought would work really well is to have our football coaches do the Pledge of Allegiance. And I gave them the option. And they said to me, no, it would be more appropriate for our captains to do the pledge. So I would like our 4 captains for the football team, Lucas, Quinton, Mike, and Selvin, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everybody please stand? I'm taking a chance here, guys. Don't disappoint me. As anticipated, unbelievable. Nice season. Okay, roll call, please, Ms. Evans.
Mrs. Frantic. Here. Mrs. Good.
Excuse?
Dr. Kim. Here. Dr. Ludwig.
She should be late.
Mr. Robsky.
Here.
Mrs. Rothman. Here. Mrs. Scherpier.
Excuse?
Mr. Sirota.
Here.
Dr. Levinowitz.
Here. Okay. You know that we do have a quorum tonight. Good evening, and I'd like to welcome everyone to our December legislative meeting. I would like to begin by congratulating all of the students who are here tonight to be recognized for either academic or athletic honors. We are all very proud of you. A special thank you for the parents in attendance tonight. Without your support and your decision to live and send your children to Upper Dublin, simply we wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you very much for your commitment. A special thank you to all of our teachers, staff, and administrators for doing everything you do every day in supporting all of our students here in the School District of Upper Dublin. One piece of business I have to announce at the beginning of the meeting for the board and for the community. It's that policy 005 states that the president may appoint at the organization meeting or soon after the organization meeting as practicable as practicable members of the board to the standing board committees set forth in the accompanying administrative regulations, when they shall serve a term of 1 year. Ad hoc committees may be created, charged, and assigned a fixed termination date, which may be extended by the president. Members of the ad hoc committee shall serve until the ad hoc committees are discharged. I am announcing tonight that the committee structure and all assigned chairs will continue for the 2019 calendar year. Both Mr. Kaplan and Dr. Yanni will follow me with their reports. They will highlight what has already occurred this past month in the district and provide a preview of the next 2 weeks before break. This is a magical time of the year, and on behalf of the Board of School Directors, I would like to wish everyone here tonight or watching a wonderful holiday season and a healthy and happy New Year. We'll now move to the next item on the agenda, which is Mr. Kaplan with his government report.
Thank you, Dr. Levinowitz. With winter break just around the corner and relaxation up ahead, students are continuing to work hard and enjoy the winter season. Today, the sophomore and junior class received their PSAT scores, which they took back in October. In athletic news, winter sports are up and running, and many of our teams have games and competitions in the upcoming days, including our girls basketball team, who played their first game this past Friday. Additionally, we would like to congratulate our football team for an amazing season reaching their championship. It has also been quite the exciting weeks for the Performing Arts Department, with the theater department just getting back from the PA Thespian Conference. The kids had a great time, many of them winning awards, and a few students from UD got to put on a one-act production of An Actor's Nightmare. This past Thursday, the music department, including our very own band, orchestra, and choir, performed at the Winter concert. The students, along with their music directors, Mr. Ford, Mr. Arnold, and Mrs. Herman, put on wonderful performances. However, the week of music did not stop when this weekend, Upper Dublin hosted over 700 kids in the PMEA District 11 instrumental auditions. Many of our students from UD made it into the talented group. Kids still walk around school with constant spirit, but I'd be lying if I said we weren't a little excited for the break.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Now I'll move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Yanni.
Every month. With the microphone. Thank you, Mr. Kaplan, and thank you, Dr. Levinowitz. Tonight, we're really excited to honor all of you for your accomplishments in the classroom and on the athletic fields. I have to say that I'm your proud superintendent. Every day I'm amazed by the quality of the students we have here and very thankful for the dedication that you all show to the Upper Dublin School District. Back in November, we celebrated American Education Week, and we thank all the parents, guardians, and families who visited our schools and our classrooms. The week provided many opportunities to see firsthand the teaching and learning happening in Upper Dublin. On Saturday, under the direction of Mr. Doan, our middle school robotics team won the Inspiration Award at the first LEGO Robotics competition that was held at Archbishop Wood. Last week, at our education meeting, several administrators provided an overview of our student performance data. There's a new feature included in that called the Data Workbook, and all of that information is now housed on the website. A lot of work is being done around equity in the district. On Thursday, our high school students will have the opportunity to participate in Unity in the UD community, sharing diverse perspectives and insight for a more inclusive and welcoming UDHS community. Also, students in our faith-based subcommittee have begun planning for our Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. Last week, our district celebrated National Inclusion Week, and when we think about the word inclusion, we typically tend to think about students with special needs being included in the regular education classroom. But inclusion is actually much more than that. Inclusion really means the intentional planning to make sure that all of our students can be successful in school. I'd like to thank all staff and students for quick action last week. Due to the incident that took place in White Marsh Township, we had a lockout. Thank you to the Upper Dublin Police Department for staying in contact with us. And last week showed why we practice so many of the safety drills that we practice here in the district. Tomorrow night we will have a virtual coffee talk. It will take place from 7 to 8 p.m. on Facebook Live. Please consider joining me tomorrow night for that event. One of the primary ways we communicate with families and the community is via e-notifications and emails. If you're not signed up to receive e-notifications, or if you're unsure if you are or not, please contact the office at your child's school to make sure that you get important messages coming from the district. And in closing, I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. Whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope it's really wonderful for you. And please take some time to attend one of the concerts to hear the beautiful music that our students are making across the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. Well, now, for the reason that most of you are here tonight, first presentation, which will be the student recognition, I will turn it over to our proud principal of the high school, Mr. Schultz.
Thank you very much, Dr. Levinowitz. Good evening and welcome to the 2018 Fall Student Recognition Program. Members of the board, administrators, we thank you for the opportunity to introduce you to some of Upper Dublin's finest. We tend to overstate a certain slogan, but because we're in the cafeteria, because it's Exponent Circular Window back there, I'll do it one more time, and frankly, it won't be for the last time. But it's a simple slogan that was penned about 30 years ago by an Upper Dublin assistant principal, and it states and is frequently referenced excellence in academics, activities, and athletics. So with this great crowd here tonight, we want to take a moment to celebrate our students who have demonstrated excellence in 2 of those areas. To our parents, our families, and our friends, thank you very much for your support of our scholars and of our student athletes. And on a logistical note to the students, When your name is called, we would ask you to proceed to the podium where you will accept your award, and then you'll proceed off to my right where you'll shake hands with the board members and with those in administration. We're going to begin with recognition of our National Merit semifinalists and commended students, and bringing them to our attention will be our wonderful coordinator of guidance, Mrs. Ward. After that portion of the program has been completed, we will shift from academics to athletics, and after another incredible fall sports season, our excellent athletic director, Mr. Eric Reiner, will lead the program. So at this point, would you please welcome Ms. Donna Ward.
And good evening. I'm honored to be here tonight to recognize our students for their accomplishment in the National Merit Scholarship Program. Approximately each year, 1.6 million juniors in more than 22,000 high schools enter the National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the PSAT. Tonight, I will begin by recognizing our National Merit semifinalists. These academically talented students represent less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors. Semifinalists. As I call your name, please come up to receive your plaque from Mr. Schultz and be recognized for this remarkable accomplishment. Alan Kai. Allison Chen. Aaron Dorsey. Michelle Fermanski. Benjamin Hensler. Anita Jin. Rose Listman. Connie Liu. John Palmer. Mario Paducci. Amelia Shagner. Arden Solomon. Hannah Chow. And Judy Zong. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 16 national semifinalists here tonight. One more round of applause for them. Incredible accomplishment. I will ask that all semifinalists and commended students please hang till the end, and I will be taking your picture in the back of the cafeteria. Commended students. Approximately 2/3 of the top 50,000 high scorers on the PSAT receive commended letters of commendation in recognition of their outstanding academic promise. Commended students, as I call your name, please come up to receive your certificate and be recognized. Matthew Breslin. Jackson Conver. Andrew Guan. Zachary Duthie. William Enchild. Joshua Hong. Jacob Turkich. Brian Clammer. Rachel Kretzstein. Annabelle Laughlin. Roshan Lee. Jacob McCauley. Elizabeth Medina. William Pastor. David Randall. Aiden Reed. Eric Siegel. Alexander Wallach. Jason Wan. Norm Yu. Kevin Zhu. 21 commended students. Incredible accomplishment. Yeah, one last round of applause for semifinals and students. Before I welcome my colleague, Eric Reiner, to the microphone, I just want to remind all semifinalists and commended students if they could please meet me in the back of the cafeteria so I can get your picture. Thank you.
Good evening, and once again, thank you for this opportunity to be here. We've once again had another successful fall season, earning 3 conference Spur League American Conference championships and 1 District 1 championship. This success isn't possible without the hard work, commitment, and the sacrifice that our coaches and our student athletes make in an attempt to produce a championship season. As a result, I'd like to start off this evening by applauding all of our teams and their efforts this past season. The first team that we're going to recognize this evening is back for our 5th consecutive year is our girls tennis team. I would like to introduce our JV coach, Laura Ball, to tell us more about our championship season.
Good evening. On behalf of David Schaefer, myself, and the entire girls tennis team, I would like to thank the school board, Dr. Yanni, Mr. Schultz, Mr. Briner, and the entire administration for welcoming us this evening. I also want to extend congratulations to girls cross country and football teams on their successful season. David sends his regrets and asked me to say a few words on his behalf on the program. 2018 marked the 14th title for girls tennis in the last 20 years, and the 5th year in a row that the team has been Suburban 1 champions. Upper Dublin has a great legacy, which these girls have continued, and our seniors have seen a lot of success in their time here. Many of them have been at this school board meeting every December as members of our starting lineup since their freshman year. Upper Dublin's strength has always been our depth. We have never simply relied on 2 or 3 players to carry our team, but depend on our full roster. Our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th doubles team routinely defeat opposing squads in lopsided victories. All 15 of our varsity players contributed to wins to our squad this year. Unfortunately, district tournament doesn't allow us to play our full roster, or we would have had greater success in that and the state tournament. But this year, we also saw a strong individual performance from 2 of our seniors. Ksenia won the American Conference singles tournament. Then Ksenia and Belinda had an incredibly strong run in the doubles tournament. They won the Suburban 1 American Conference tournament and finished 6th in the district tournament, taking out numerous seeds along the way and narrowing those 2 matches that could have sent them to the state tournament. Again, thank you for the opportunity to recognize the achievement of these players. To the seniors we are losing, we wish you the same success in life you have seen with this program. And to the players that are returning, we look forward to continuing the legacy you have helped build next year. Thank you. Call your name, please. Come forward. Jessica Shevitz. Erin Hackett. Lillian Hackett. David Hunter. Belinda Jin. Bonnie Liu. Skylar Richmond. Rebecca Schaefer. Ksenia Tashik. Anna Tanko. Eileen Chow. Hannah Chow. Amy Yang. Heather Yoon. And Anna Zhao.
If I could, please request the team captains, Belinda Jin and Hannah Zhao, to return to the podium. On behalf of the Suburban One League, I'd like to present to you the American Conference Championship Trophy. Congratulations. The second team we're recognizing this evening has made it a tradition attending this meeting and winning the conference the last 10 consecutive years. Is our girls cross country team. Here to talk more about their championship season is head coach Tony Gianmarco.
Good evening, everyone. First, on behalf of the girls cross country team, I'd like to thank Dr. Gianni, the school board, and all administrators here for welcoming us tonight and recognizing us. Second, I'd like to extend congratulations to the football team and their coaches, as well as the girls tennis team and their coaches for another very successful season. At this point, I'd like to call the ladies up. We have kind of a large crew, so we'll get them moving. There's 33 of them. I don't know if all of them are here tonight, but we'll start with Abigail Broderick. Come on out. Caitlin Burmester. Abigail Shushu. Ella Clayton. Eliana Crane. Sarah Eskew. Charity Foster, Jenna Gerslauer, Amy Gong, Annabelle Midge Gustafson, Irene Hong, Sabrina Huddy, Emma Ziora, Abigail Keller, Caroline Coleman, Amanda Kulak, Annabelle Laughlin, Shay Lodwick, Marley Moose, Abigail Manifesta, Abigail Mahelic, Liliana Noble, Elena O'Toole, Jennifer Parsons, Michaela Patalano, Shayna Peart, Anna Pfeffer, Amelia Shattenger, Lena Shattenger, Madeline Spalding, GSC Grace St. Clair, Kaylee Chalger, and Paris White. We had a tremendous season this year, probably my most enjoyable as a coach. As Mr. Griner mentioned earlier, we've made it a habit to be here. We intend to do so moving forward. But this year especially, like I said, was great. We were undefeated in the league. Many of the meets weren't all that competitive. And kind of like the tennis team, I think we relied a lot on our depth this year. We really had, somewhere between 10 and 15 legitimate varsity runners when you only really need 5. And as I mentioned at our banquet earlier a couple weeks ago, unfortunately for some of the girls on our team, they probably would have been varsity on some other teams, but we were just, as I mentioned, so deep. So undefeated in the league, we went to a number of invitationals. We always came back with both team and individual awards. League championship meet was kind of close actually, but we won. And this is something we've been searching for and looking to do. We've always said being top 10 in District 1 is something that we strive for. It's very competitive. There's 85 teams, and you have to run your best on one single day. We were 9th, and that's our best finish in the last decade. And to cap it all off, we had one individual, Elaine O'Toole, sophomore, make it to the state championship meet and represent us there. As I mentioned, sophomore, she ran 18:56 for 5K, which is pretty darn fast. And so, she's looking to continue that and hopefully be with her team at the state meet next year. The season was not without adversity. It wasn't a perfect season. We had some pretty terrible weather at the beginning, very hot, very wet. It was difficult to run fast. We had some injuries. We had some snafus with busing. I think the girls and I became a lot closer hanging out in the parking lot for an hour and a half before the league meet. But in spite of all that, they rose to the occasion whenever I asked them to. And like I said, it couldn't have been a better season. So congratulations to the girls.
If I could please ask the team captains, Madeline Spaulding and Karis White, to please come back up front. On behalf of the Spur 1 League and for the 10th year in a row, I'd like to present to you the American Conference Championship Trophy. Congratulations. And to Coach Gianmarco, on behalf of the school board and the athletics department, I'd like to present to you this plaque to commemorate your championship season. Thank you for all your time and commitment that you've given to our girls cross country program. Congratulations. The final team we are recognizing this evening has attended for the last 5 years for being recognized as Suburban 1 League Conference champions is the football team. And in addition, this year has added their second District 1 championship in school history. Here to talk more about their thrilling performances this season is head coach Brett Stover.
I tell you, last year, not getting here on a 2-point play, on an official, that one's still stuck in our craw. But that kind of set us up for the season, the off-season, and to build on what we wanted to do. We wanted to get back here. We have goals every year that are win a Suburban 1 title, win a district title, and then a state championship. So we accomplished 2 out of the 3 this year. Very proud of my players, my coaching staff, for the time, effort, commitment they put in for this year. We saw, as Tony Gianmarco just referenced, we saw it all this year weather-wise. We had heat to the point where we weren't able to practice. So we improvised. We came in at 5:30 in the morning, we turned the lights on, and people showed up wondering what was going on in Cardinal Stadium, and there we were full pad practicing, because we knew we weren't going to be able to get our work done in the afternoon because of the heat and safety issues. We had rain almost maybe 3/4, half of our Friday night games, unfortunately, were in the rain. So we got good with that. And then we had snow, to the point where we're supposed to host a District 1 championship game here at Cardinal Stadium, and we get 4 to 5 inches when they're calling for a dusting. I got to thank my parents, my coaches for shoveling that field. It was an awesome experience. Not the shoveling part, but just the fact that when we finally got the word to put the call out to get the parents there, we had parents, not only football players, but marching band members, community members. We had parents sending in workers from their companies. And every time you looked back at the stairs, people were coming with shovels thrown over their shoulders. What a cool experience, and we were able to get that field, cleared, and we were able to host that game. So we're very excited for that. That's a memory I don't think I'll ever forget. I definitely won't forget it anytime soon. The players took us on a heck of a ride. We dropped the game fourth week of the year, so we're 3-1. We kind of got it handed to us by a really good Penn Charter team. And I can remember us coming back to the locker room and our captains and our seniors getting everybody together in the locker room, and it was a closed-door meeting. And honestly, I don't know what was said, but whatever it was the right words, because we went on this incredible run. And we ended up with the number 2 seed in the district, so we were scheduled for 3 home games. Unfortunately, Penwood, who was the number 1 team, got upset in the semifinals, so we were able to host 4 games in Cardinal Stadium and win our 2nd district title here at Cardinal Stadium, which was really a cool experience for not only for myself, my players, but our families and our community to share that with us. So that was really cool. We were fortunate enough to have a good friend over at Wissahickon High School putting to host the district, the Eastern Finals, because District 1 was the host site, and we were able to play that as another home game, in my opinion. And the crowd was incredible, the community support was incredible, and I really appreciate everybody, and my staff appreciates it, and so do the players, everybody coming out and supporting us. We hope to keep coming back here. We want to take one more step. We want to get to that state championship game, and the legacy has been continued from the 2015 team, and we hope that somewhere in the near distant future we'll find that state championship. I know we'll keep working as a staff, and players will do the same. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my team and my staff. David Brody Balassa. Christopher Barbera. Randolph Bartle. Kevin Bartholomew. Micah Boopman. Jason Butler. Nathan Cummins. Patrick Delaney. Rudy Delpree. Brian Durr. Pinder. Connor English. Jacob Gondek. Selvin Haynes. Logan Hine. Robert Harold. Ryan Jamison. Nadir Johnson. Ron Johnson. Alec Joseph. John Colbrenner. Brian McCary. Lucas Nina Bossler. Mason Novak. Aman Orlena. Adam Overton. Aiden Pullian. Nolan Reed. Liam Roberts. Jackson Rock. Lucas Roselli. Jacob Rossman. Jaden Santangelo. Jason Scott. Andrew Sedlick. Wesley Sewell. Matthew Sharkey. Matthew Shields. Michael Slipka. Andrew Sowers. Charles Staley, aka CJ. Patrick Tucker. Joseph Wachter. Mitchell White. Jacob Walsdorf. And Dylan Zalatka. Now, I'm hoping I missed none of the players. Did I miss anyone? I'm hoping I didn't go too fast and miss one of them. That's always my biggest fear up here, because this is what it's all about. It's all about you guys. I want to thank you guys for what you did this year. It was awesome. It really was. Now, the guys that kind of prop me up every week, I call them the hardest working staff in District 1, and our motto, or our mantra is we win the game Monday through Thursday. And these guys that I'm going to announce tonight are really the reason why we do what we do so well, because they are the best coaching staff that I could ever possibly have. And I'm very, very fortunate. So when your name's called, come up and grab your medals. Eric Taylor. Dave Sowers. Ed Wall. Sheeta. Steve Roberts. Dr. Paul Winters could not be with us this evening. He's coaching his grandson's basketball team, so he's not here. My freshman coaches, Demasio Goodman, Steve Young, and Bill Sharkey. I'd also like to thank our videographer, Michael Young, who does a great, great job.
I would ask that team captains Selvin Haynes, Quentin Durr, Michael Slipka, and Lucas Roselli please return to the podium. On behalf of the Suburban 1 League and District 1, I'd like to present to you the American Conference Championship Trophy and District 1 Championship Trophy. An outstanding accomplishment this season. Congratulations. And Coach Stover, if you wouldn't mind coming back up. On behalf of the school board and the athletic department, I'd like to present to you this plaque to commemorate your championship season. We appreciate all your commitment and time you've given to our football program. Thank you and congratulations on your remarkable season. In closing, I would like to thank the Board of School Directors for their continued support of athletic programs as well as the Upper Dublin community. Thank you.
Okay, so again, I'd like to congratulate all of our students who are recognized tonight. And again, thank you parents for all you do. And we are going to take a 5-minute recess so that everybody can get home and study for their exams and get their homework done. Thank you.
2020 school district calendar so that we can begin to plan and prepare with the goal of actually approving it at the January legislative meeting. So I'll just highlight some of the things that may be of interest and slightly different than this year's calendar. First of which, in August, instead of 3 professional development days, we're looking to schedule 4. We're still looking to have students return the day after Labor Day, so that would be Tuesday, September 3rd is the first student day. The rest are pretty typical. When we get into January, we're looking to schedule 3 what's termed Act 80 days. Act 80 days are actually students' days that we can request that the state approve for the purpose of professional development. So the Friday, January 17th, Friday, February 14th, and Monday, March 9th are all designated as Act 80 days. At this point, we have also noted that Monday, March 9th, in the event we have more than 3 snow days by that time, that will be our first day to make up a day out of it rather than add it at the end of the calendar year. So we'll hold that and hope for a mild winter, that we won't need it and keep it designated as an Act 80 day. But it is a student day that's utilized as a professional development day. And that will set us up with concluding the last student day, Friday, June 12th, with one final professional development day on the 15th. So at this point, I think those are all the salient points of the calendar. Everything else is pretty routine.
Thank you, Mr. Sigerfus. Are there any questions from the board regarding the proposed calendar? Dr. Yanni?
So when we started looking at the calendar for this year, or for next year, one of the messages that we heard loud and clear was that there were a tremendous number of early dismissals inside the calendar. And when we take a look at early dismissals, the early dismissals are a loss of instructional time, and because it only provides a very short amount of time for professional staff that remains, we were not getting sort of the bang for our buck by having those early dismissals. So we'll be looking at doing some true half days, reducing those in number to make sure that we create a calendar that is good instructionally, that's good for professional development, but that's also good for the community and for parents, guardians, and families who have to plan for altered student schedules.
Okay, other questions from the board? Ms. Rothman?
I think in the past, this calendar is obviously the 1920 calendar, and in the spring of 20, there'll be a presidential primary. And I know in years past, that does end up being either an Act 80 day or something like that. So I know at this point, it looks like Pennsylvania is scheduled to have a primary on April 28th, but I just wanted to point that out in case that might be of interest next year if we want to make that change.
I'm sure Mr. Sigerfus, I'm sorry, that's mic is really hot. I see Mr. Sigerfus writing that down, so we'll review that as a comment. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, at this point, we'll open up for our first community input. Please come up to the podium, state your name, where you reside in the township, and board policy, limited to 4 minutes. If there's others that wish to speak, for the sake of time, if you would at least move up to the front row, so it won't take as long between speakers.
Jen Cousins, Fort Washington. I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the new policy that maybe passed tonight. I didn't even get a chance to look at the agenda. Restricting the topics of conversation for first community input. I had sent an email to a couple of the board members on the policy committee about community input and about how long it takes us to get to community input. And I went back and I researched the 42 legislative meetings since August 2015. And I just wanted to point that out, that only 4 of the 42 legislative meetings in the last 2 years had a community input of over 30 minutes. And those were typically the hot topic items like the recess protest, I think SNAP protest might have been one of them, and the bus depot was another one. So those were things that weren't necessarily on the agenda that the community felt was important to bring up, and most people show up to the first one. So I also want to point out that 31 of the 42 meetings, community members had to wait over 30 minutes to make their first community input. So in the interest of data, if we're looking at community input length of those 42 meetings, 30 of them were under 20 minutes. 7 of them ran 20 to 30 minutes, and only 5 were over 30 minutes long. And I know during the policy committee meeting, we were talking about getting down to the job of the school board, which is the action items. So that's why we were trying to restrict comments for community input. I want to also say that the length of wait time until the first community input, only 6 of those meetings took less than 20 minutes to get to the first community input. 5 of those meetings, we had to wait 20 to 30 minutes to make our first community input. And 31 of those meetings, we had to wait over 30 minutes to be able to make our first community input. So I do think it's important to keep that in mind moving forward. I don't think our problem is community input. I feel like if we're doing award ceremonies and it's taking us almost an hour to be able to get to this point, they should maybe be a separate function outside of the meeting. A different event, possibly. I can, if anyone's interested, who I didn't send this email to, I literally broke down every single meeting about topics and how long we had to wait and how long each input was. Thank you.
Brister, Fort Washington. This will not come as a surprise, I'm sure, but I'm very, very disappointed about the changes to policy 006 regarding limiting the topics at community input. Well, the first community input at legislative meetings to just presentations and action items is a huge major change to a long-standing policy and the practice here in Upper Delaware for well over 20 years. I watched the first policy meeting where this was brought up, which I believe was the November 5th one. One board member said, truthfully, this will cut down community input in half for some people, but I support it. Well, there you go. Out of all the meetings, obviously, there's usually 4 committee meetings in an average month, and there's a legislative meeting. Out of all of the meetings, the first community input is the most used and the most popular. So it's just obvious. You're cutting down on a major opportunity for community input. And you can, whether Dr. Yanni or the board wants to state your goals, that's up to you. I'm not going to get into it because it would use up my 4 minutes. But it seems like to cut it, it basically wants speedier meetings. Is that worth ruining? Is it worth ruining communication, making communication worse? Because to me, it looks like a big step backwards. Limiting topics is not going to help improve communication or build trust. I was struck by Dr. Yanni's comment, and by the way, I have already discussed this with Dr. Yanni via email. I appreciate his response. Art, you were copied on the first email, and there was some follow-ups. But I was really impressed by Dr. Yanni's comment at the November 5th meeting where he said this is probably not going to be popular because there's not a high level of trust. I think the exact words were limiting public comment to action items only isn't going to go over well. And he cited the lack of trust. Exactly. So I feel like Dr. Yanni and I are on the same exact page with regard to that. And if you don't have good communication, often it erodes trust. So I'm still a little baffled because we agree that we need to build up communication, we need to build up trust. Totally understand you're going to have some other meetings, or you said you would, and you're doing the coffees, that's fine. Board members aren't there. So if I'm concerned about, just take the latest issue, the Field of Dreams, I need to be looking at how the 9 board members are going to vote. And, you know, I don't have young kids at home, so yeah, can I stay till the end? Probably. People who have younger kids at home are juggling sports after school, they're juggling homework, they're juggling dinner, they're juggling bedtime. Very difficult for them to stay. So you're cutting down the most popular community input that we have. I went back to look at, I appreciate Jen's data, and she's totally right, of course, that only a few meetings are hot topic issues where you go over 30 minutes, that came the first community input. But I also took a look back at this, which I still have in my email, so if anyone's interested. This was the compilation from the superintendent search focus groups. There's a lot in here, which I'm hoping the board has looked at. But 2 of the main things that I went to 2 of those focus groups, but in addition, it was all put up on the website. One had to do with communication. Communicates with all stakeholders and is visible. This is what people wanted in the next superintendent. And I'm just going to read this one other one because to me it goes with communication. Models integrity, trust, and respect. If you don't have good communication, you're not going to have good trust, and you're not going to feel respected. So to me, it's a step in the wrong direction, and I think based on Jen's data, you need to ask yourself, so if most of our meetings in the first community input is 20 minutes.
Please finish up.
I'm finishing up, Art. If it's mostly 20 minutes, do we really need to change this policy because we can't listen to the taxpayers for 20 minutes? Because that's kind of sad.
If anybody else wishes to make a comment, I'd appreciate if you would at least sit up in the front row so we can move through the community input.
I think it took 10 seconds. Take it off my 4 minutes. Jenny Vitale, Ambler. I was waiting to see if she covered things I wanted to bring up, so I didn't repeat myself since we've been reprimanded for that as well. I have said over and over at many other meetings that, I mean, you know, I have an argument about the 6 o'clock time frame, how it's difficult to get to meetings with the schedule. 7 o'clock was much better. That never changed. I made the argument over the times when we're sitting in a meeting and we bring up something because that's the meeting we can attend. And Nurture, oh no, bring that back to the next meeting. Well, I can't make the next meeting. I'm here at this meeting. I had that argument several times. So there's 2 issues with the schedule. First of all, the legislative meeting is the only meeting where every single person is here. So if I happen to be one of these people, one of you guys that's sitting here, I would actually want the most community input on that day because I want to be as most informed as possible about the community at large and the pulse of that community. You get it from what people are coming up here to say. And if there's a hot topic item, absolutely. I want to hear every angle. That's why I come to these meetings, because it does interest me what people have to say in the community. And I would think that you would as well. And yes, it is important that everyone is here. Not everyone is at the other meetings. And when there's a hot topic item, it may not be on the agenda for a vote, but it's in discussion. So people want to be able to speak about that topic, even though it's not being voted on that day. I mean, you're saying that we can only talk about it on the day we're going to vote on it, and that's not really appropriate either. It was mentioned at the policy meeting that the intent would be to have some other meetings, or more like a town hall style meetings with the board members, with the community to try to help listen and hear what the community has to say, and I think that is fantastic. But I think that should be in addition. And maybe, without changing the policy, we don't change the policy, we have these town hall meetings, maybe you won't even have to have it will just fix itself without making it a policy. Because you'll have these meetings, and that's when people can really speak with their minds. So I would say that we're kind of pulling the cart before the horse, and we're making a policy for something that might not be a problem. 4 meetings out of 42, it's not a problem that we're trying to fix, and therefore we are limiting what people can talk about. And this could be, if you know something's brewing out there and people are upset, it is potential that could be left off the agenda, right? Purposely or non-purposely, I don't know. I also think that part of that policy about the public officials that we vote for that represent Upper Dartmouth Township, I think it's an embarrassment to not include anybody who represents us in any level of government, us taxpayers, not be welcome at any meeting, that they have to come up and tell you when they're planning on coming. It should be an open invitation, that they should be able to speak. They are public officials that represent Upper Dartmouth. Anyway, that's it, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Seeing no one else, we'll close community input. Any comments from the superintendent or the board? Dr. Young?
So I appreciate the fact that people say nice things about the comments I make. One of the things that has struck me about Upper Dublin in my short time here, and granted it has been a short time, is that I think we need to do a better job discussing major and big issues before they come up to a vote. And I think I've been very clear with our board that that is my intent. So when you think about things such as transportation, Field of Dreams, any number of those things. And maybe I read the situation wrong, but one of the things that I feel very strongly about is that I want, if there's a problem, I want to be able to help solve the problem and not necessarily have it wait until a legislative meeting, because these meetings only happen once a month. So when parents or community members email me or they reach out for assistance, I would like to be able to help with those issues before it actually comes up to a board meeting. There are many things that are, in administration's control, and we're working collaboratively with the board to sort of draw those lines to where they'll be. So, I actually brought up the idea of having the idea of public comment be focused on agenda items only, so that we could get to the business part of the meeting, so that we could actually spend some time discussing and not just going through the committee reports and the recommendations. Because I was starting to feel confident that we were able to handle problems and not have folks wait any number of days or weeks until a legislative meeting. But if I misread that, I apologize.
Anyone else? Ms. Roth?
For the agenda, tonight 006 is listed as a second read and adoption. At the last policy meeting, we did make some changes to it, so it should be listed as a repeated first read for tonight. So if it passes tonight, it will be coming back at our next agenda, our legislative agenda.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Francis?
I think it's important for the community to understand two pieces. No matter what happens in the next 3 years that I serve on this board, I will be ever proud that I was part of the team that selected Steve Yanni as our superintendent. And primarily the top reason is the communication, not just with the community, which hopefully you can all see in all the various means that he is reaching out. But what you don't get to see is the communication that he has with us on an incredibly regular basis, which is helping to inform us, get ahead of situations before they arise. So for that, I thank you, and I think the intention to try to streamline, for me as a working parent, and attracting other kinds of working parents and other people to the board who have other commitments, because it is really important that we represent our community well on this board. I just felt like this was an effort to make the meetings really functional and move along, and also help us to kind of keep track of issues. But so for that, that was kind of my support of this idea.
Good. Anyone else? Just to echo those remarks, I agree with both Dr. Yanni and Ms. Francic. This is a legislative meeting held in front of the community. It's very different. It's not a community meeting with the board. It's a legislative meeting, and that time is where we take action. I do agree very strongly with Dr. Yanni's comments regarding how things operated in the past in terms of not identifying the issues, potential issues, and trying to work with the community ahead of time so it does not come to the legislative meeting. I think when those issues are brought up to the during the legislative meeting, I think we blew it. That should not be happening. We should always be working so that they do not come up at a legislative meeting, because nothing really could be done at that legislative meeting, and it's going to be another month before the next legislative meeting. So I strongly support moving forward with the first reading tonight of 06.
Just so that then all the board members are aware, we'll need to amend the agenda, and that will have to move from the second reading and approval to a first reading, so it goes back to policy. And I want to thank Mrs. Clegg emailed me about that a little while ago, and I responded. I said, no, I think it really is the second reading, but it sounds the first reading. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing no other comments, we will move on to announcements and communications. Ms. Bright.
There are no announcements this evening.
Okay, we have a legislative meeting and committee meeting minutes.
Yes, we have the November 12th legislative meeting minutes, I'm so sorry, and the community committee minutes as well. For October 22nd, policy, October 25th, operations, October 25th, finance, as well as the November 5th, education committee.
Okay.
Have approval, please.
Is there a motion to approve? Okay, Mr. Sirota made the motion. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Rothman. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, motion was made to approve the legislative meeting minutes of November 12th and the various committee meetings listed in the board agenda. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Moving on to education.
In addition to the information item, number A, enrollment, there are two motions, one on student activities, one on conferences. Both have been discussed in committee, with the exception that there are two additional conferences on the conference list. I move we approve both as listed.
Okay, motion is made to approve items B and C on the education committee. Is there a second? Okay, Dr. Kim, any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Nothing in the technology recommendations then. Moving on to people's services, Dr. Kim.
Yes, I move that we approve the 3 agreements, the 2 service agreements and the 1 educational placement, as listed in the agenda.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Okay, Dr. Ludwig, comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, operations. Fairly lengthy list, Mr. Sirota.
Yes, we have 5 items. The first one is new. It is our standard excess, obsolete, and non-repairable equipment, with a list of desks and athletic equipment from the high school. We'll take that one separately.
Okay, second. Ms. Rothman, comments or questions on item A? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
The remainder, B through E, were discussed at the operations committee meeting, and C was additionally discussed in executive session since the last operations committee meeting. So I move that we accept all 4 of those.
Second, Ms. Rothman, items B, C, D, and E under operations tonight. Any comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Mr. Sirota, moving on to finance. Dr. Ludwig?
For finance tonight, I will take the first 2 motions, the treasurer's report and the payments. Those are our regular items.
Second. Motion was made. Second. Was that Spencer? Okay, comments or questions? Just to remind the board, it's always, make sure you scroll down that treasurer's report to see the numerous pages, especially the one page that covers the amounts of funds available in our debt service and our capital project accounts. It's always good to see that. Okay, items A and B, I don't see any additional comments. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Then I will take items C, D, E, and F, as they haven't been, they were discussed at the Finance Committee meeting. If you approve those.
Second? Ms. Francis? Comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Personnel report, Ms. Francis?
One more.
Sorry.
The last item is G, that is the spring sports supplies bid recommendations. We didn't discuss that, so I'm taking it separately.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Okay. Comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Personnel, Ms. Francis.
Thank you. I'd like to move that we approve the monthly personnel report consisting of personnel changes within the district.
Second? Okay, Ms. Rothman, comments or questions on the personnel? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Moving on to policy. We'll have to do preliminary work here.
Yeah, so first I'm going to move to amend the agenda to take look board procedure.
You're not going to amend.
No? Okay, good. All right. All right. Thanks. All right, so first up are for second readings and adoptions. Move for policy 616, 621, 622, 626, and 917. Additionally, for first reading policies tonight, move for 006, 324, and 330. And for administrative regulations, for approval, 618, 621, and 622.
Second? Oh, Mr. Stewart. Okay, comments or questions? Be aware that it's 06 is now the first reading level.
Yes.
Okay. Seeing no comments or questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, moving on, there is no other business. We're up to the liaison committee reports. Montgomery County IU, Dr. Ludwig.
There's no IU meeting in December. Next meeting will be the fourth Wednesday in January.
Thank you. Montgomery County Legislative Committee, Ms. Rothman.
We did not have a meeting in November. Instead, there was the PA Schools Work Summit hosted in King of Prussia. I know that we had at least 3 board members there, as well as Dr. Yanni attending at a different locale, discussing different items for public education in Pennsylvania. We don't have another meeting until January 16th.
Okay. Moving on to Eastern Center for Arts and Technology, we'll be meeting on Wednesday night. Let me just state that at our board meeting on Wednesday, the finalists for the executive director will be recommended and will be voted on, and that information is not public yet. So I will share that with the board once it's public. I'm very excited about the new director, and also very sad to see Mr. Alan leave. He's served Eastern for over 10 years, and did a great job at Eastern. Moving on to excellence and equity, Dr. Kim.
Yeah, as Dr. Yanni mentioned, this past Thursday, the faith-based meeting happened, and they were busy planning for the MLK Day of Service. That's scheduled and planned for January 21st here at the high school. If board members and the community are able to attend, it'll be a great day to celebrate again the service day and service opportunities throughout the community. In addition to that, this coming Thursday, the African American Black Students and Families Group is sponsoring again Unity and the UD community open forum here at the high school from 9 to 11. Board members are welcome to attend.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sherby is not here for the Education Advisory Committee. Anyone else has anything on that?
I'll just give a quick update. There are several reports being worked on this year. One of the reports is focused on teacher evaluation. Another report is focused on the pros and cons and the right timing for math acceleration. And I'm going to ask Ms. Morrison to help me remember the other reports being worked on.
The role, my microphone is on. The third report is about the role student feedback plays in teacher evaluations.
Thank you. Moving on to Pennsylvania School Boards Association. Just I received a postcard today. I believe it goes to all the board members. There's a number of workshops that will be occurring over the next few months. One is the President's Panel, which is really open to any board members, especially the Vice President, Superintendent. Another one is the sectional meeting and the legislative update. Both the sectional meeting and the legislative update will be held in the Upper Dublin High School. Also remind the board once again that the National School Boards Conference is the end of March. Perhaps some can attend 1 day or 2 days. Doesn't happen too often in Philadelphia, so it'll be a great opportunity to get a national perspective of school boards. PTO, Ms. Francis.
Thank you. Dr. Yanni and I are working with other team members in the district to collaborate on some guidelines for our PTO and PTA leaders regarding their fundraising efforts and how to be strategic about those and to really just maximize their efforts. As always, at the end of the year especially, we'd like to say thank you. This is a very, very busy time of year, many events, and just grateful for our volunteers and their generosity of time as well.
Okay, Township, Mr. Ross.
Yes, we did not meet. We will be meeting in February.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dublin Education Foundation, Ms. Francis.
We had a meeting earlier this evening to do some more planning for the Monte Carlo night. If you have not been, I encourage you to attend. The registration is now open. It's Saturday, March 23rd at the beautiful Mercedes-Benz dealership in Fort Washington. And we're very excited to bring some new elements this year. Hope to see everyone there. Additionally, if you have not attended a Harlem Wizards versus the UD All-Stars event before, I again very much encourage it. It's a fantastic night. Saturday, January 26th here at the high school. And our Speak organization has a sensory room for kids who have issues with the noise. So it's really a fantastic family night. So please check out UDEF's website and join us.
It is an amazing event, loud event. So if you did not attend last year, we'll try to get to it this year. It's pretty funny. So moving on to the solicitor's report, Mr. Roos.
Thank you. Last month, the United States Department of Education released their proposed rewrite of federal Title IX guidance regarding sexual harassment and assault, which would significantly narrow the scope of what would constitute sexual harassment and limit the amount of things that would justify a complaint. We will monitor that and keep you posted. There is a 60-day comment period. At this point, the upper level policies are fairly effective, much broader than what would be adopted, what is proposed to be adopted by the U.S. Department of Education.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to community input. Number 2, step up to the podium. State your name, where you reside in the township, and board policies, 4 minutes. Thank you. Is it going to be in the same order? No.
Maybe. Jen Kuzmins, Fort Washington. First of all, thank you, Dr. Yanni and Amy, for those words, and Dr. Levinowitz. Dr. Levinowitz? Yes, sorry. About the policy meeting. I'm hoping that, I'll tune in because it's definitely hard to get there during the day to those meetings, but I'm hoping to see some more discussion on that. I also just wanted to, make everyone aware, just as we go into this second round of the holiday season, there were lots of community groups at the different elementary schools working hard on toy drives, and any promotion to those organizations would be great. I know I just added 9 children to the middle school list today, so it would be really great if we can get a little more promotion on outside of Facebook and emails and things of that nature. And then, I can't even remember what my third thing was, so I guess you got lucky. I remember. I did just want to make a note, and it's only because someone brought it up to me today, that at least one of the buses is still getting to Fort Washington Elementary School like at 8:40, or even a little bit later. And it was just mentioned to me earlier today, so maybe we can check with the secretaries on that, because I think it kind of came from over there somewhere. Thank you.
evening. Michelle Haggerty, Fort Washington. I just want to speak to also the legislative community input. I am a working parent as well as many others in this community. I have 3 children, one at each school, elementary, middle, and high. It's difficult. We all have busy kids. As you said, we're doing dinner, we're doing homework, we're doing sports, we're doing a lot of different activities. It leaves very little time for family. But I try to come to this one meeting that I can attend. I did look back through my phone and my calendar, and every single policy meeting is at 1:30 in the afternoon. Not very convenient for working parents. So my recommendation is that, if you would like to maybe monitor some of this community input, that maybe make a policy meeting that is maybe more flexible for working parents.
Ginny Vitale Ambler, I'm totally not on the agenda and not brought up, but I did hear tonight, since we were sitting through 45 minutes of awards, which was fantastic to see the achievement of those students academically and athletically. But it was brought up to me that apparently the cross-country team was not provided a bus to get to state competition up in Lehigh, and I'm wondering why we are not busing our students to an athletic event. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else approaching the podium, we'll close community input. At this point, we will I'll turn it over to Dr. Yanni at the board.
So, Mr. Robbins, our Director of Transportation, is here tonight. So, Mr. Robbins, if you could perhaps address the Fort Washington late bus and the cross country.
I have not heard anything about a bus going in late until tonight, so I was actually in the middle of emailing Mr. McAleer about that, so I can find out what bus that is and see what we can do to resolve that situation. But as far as the bus to Lehigh, the reason why we can't provide it at the time was because of the timing of the trip. It leaves during our normal everyday take-in and comes back during when we're bringing the students home. So for us to be able to provide that transportation, we would have to, 1, have a driver available, which on that particular day we did not, and 2, have a bus available to go out to Lehigh. So unfortunately, at that time, due to attendance issues, we were unable to do so. But what we were able to do was work together with our neighboring districts to make that happen so that we didn't have students missing out on opportunities.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robbins. Any other comments from the superintendent or the board?
So, one of the comments was about clothing and other drives for students. We'll be promoting that throughout the remainder of this week through all of the buildings and also through some student groups so that we can get even more students involved in helping out.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Sirota.
The example of a bus arriving late at Fort Washington is I think, a good example of a topic that is not really a board level topic. We have very little to do with it. It should come through channels, through the principal, as Mr. Robbins said to Mr. Robbins. Certainly relevant to bring it up to the board if accountability is not happening, but it should go through all the regular channels first. That's, I think, a great example of the sort of thing that Dr. Yan was improving. I think at the beginning of the year, he actually issued guidance on the process for reaching out on various topics, and maybe we need to circulate that more fully.
Good point. Anyone else regarding the community input? Seeing none, the Any closing comments from the Board of Superintendent?
I would like to note, it's not on the agenda, but we have an operations meeting and a finance meeting on the 20th of December. And at the operations meeting, we will be discussing, or we'll get the first look at the new version of the long-range capital plan.
The other meetings are listed in the agenda, starting in January, but just want to make sure that the community is aware of the December 20th operations and finance meeting. Okay, Tatiana?
We also put up on the website a frequently asked question document for the new Sandy Run Middle School and the construction project. We will keep adding to that, so that will be a repository of information. Anytime we're going through construction, there are going to be a lot of changes, a lot of information going out, so we'll use that as a seminal document to sort of house all the information, and that can be accessed on our district website.
Okay, anyone else? In closing, I'd like to wish again the community and my colleagues on the board a very happy, healthy holiday season and New Year, and I'll see most of you next week at finance or operations. Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Sirota, second? Ms. Francis? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, we are adjourned.